Hi guys, welcome to another new video. As I promised you, I was not going to let you down. Today I have three of the best soundbars from three of the top most best soundbars companies in the world, and they're some of the most affordable soundbars we have on the market. Right over here I have the Sony 600 watts, the bar with two surround speakers, subwoofer, and then over here we have the LG 600 watts. Once again we have the bar, two speakers, then the subwoofer. This is the LG S65TR model, you can see right over there. And then we have the smallest yet one of my favorite. It looks so small, just have a look at it. It might be so tiny, but this is the this is the Samsung HW-B650. It's actually 430 watts, while these ones are all 600 watts, but this 430 watts, but it's still my favorite. Why? I'll explain to you later after we've done some sound test. That is how the bar is. It doesn't have even the surround speakers. The subwoofer is quite smaller compared to what we have on these other ones. I've heaped so much praise on this, but I hope by the end of this review, maybe you will be with me, or if you're an LG fan, you'll stick to LG. If you're a Sony fan, then you'll stick to Sony. Now, just before you do the review, I'll just go through each and every one of them, the details and the price tags, so that at least at the end of this video you'll be able to make an informed decision. So first and foremost, on this Samsung, remember it's 430 watts, HW650B. This is the B series. We have C series, Q series, and all other series for Samsung. 430 watts, 3.1 channel, not 5.1, 3.1, because we have three drivers on the bar. The bar is 1 meter long, three drivers, and then tweeters to make up total of 5 speakers right over there. And then we have subwoofer that is quite small too, around 5 inches, 6 inches, very small. Yeah, for the dimension of the subwoofer, maybe if you're interested, we have around this is 39 centimeters, and then the width here is 29 centimeters. And then we have 19 centimeters right over there, so it's not that big. Yeah. Then here we have 600 watts LG soundbar with a very big subwoofer. You can see how long it is compared to the one for Samsung. This is 38, but here we have around 60 centimeters of height. In terms of thickness and width, they're almost the same, but quite bigger. Then always, most of these soundbars have 1 meter soundbar. The bar is 1 meter. We have two surround speakers. The body build is very strong, and actually they're a bit weighty. I think that impacts even the quality, because I expect them to have very good magnets on the speakers. That's why they're a bit heavy. Then 3 speakers on the bar as usual. Control knobs right on top there on the bar. We have the LED indicator right over here. This one I don't like it so much because it doesn't display anything here, but at least they've counterworked on that with a talkback feature on the bar. So when you press on Bluetooth like that, you see it's talking, like, yeah, okay. Let me just try and change USB. So you see it's talking back. But for the Samsung, we also have USB. Yeah, so let me just turn that off. For Samsung, you see we have the same control knobs on the bar, and then I love it because we have LED indicators here. So in case, instead of that talkback feature, you just have to look at what's being displayed on the LED indicator. So if it's on, you see it's on. If you change Bluetooth mode, you see Bluetooth mode. So you can be able to see what you're doing on the remote. And this is how the remote for Samsung is. If we're going to explain to you, this is how the remote is. Okay, it's quite simple. We have a subwoofer control mode on the remote. We have volume button, sound mode, nothing much. It looks the same as the remote for Samsung TV. If you have been using Samsung TV, then you're familiar to this remote. And this remote is equally compatible with the Samsung TV, just as the same as Samsung TV is compatible to that soundbar. And then for LG, once again we're back here, we have wireless surround speakers. This is so special and unique to this LG that we have over here. It's 600 watts, we have wireless surround speakers. So what happens, right now you can see those LED indicators to indicate that everything is off. So when you turn it on, they're supposed to turn to green. So it's turning on, you see, Yeah, so it indicates that it's on, and you see here it's green, here it's also green, so it means they've already paired. So just at the back here you can see there's a power cable here to connect one of these rear speakers, and then you loop it with this wire to the other rear speaker we have over there. So you can carry all these and place them differently away or far away from the soundbar to where they can still pair. And the only disadvantage to that is because now you have 3 power cables, one for the subwoofer, you have another cable for the bar, and then you have another cable for the surround. That brings a total of 3 cables, and that's why you have an extension that looks like this, that is totally full with cables just for the soundbar. And maybe if you have another extra slot for your TV, then you place it there. So maybe you'll have to find a way of dealing with all those cables for powering up the LG soundbar. As for Sony soundbar, that is it. Simple, classic Sony. We have the surround speakers there, we have the bar, we have the subwoofer, the breather as usual. They will normally place the breathers at the front part, so this is the breather. You see for LG, the breather is at the back. For Samsung, the breather is also at the back. So this is where we have the breather. You can see we have the breather right over here. For LG, we have the breather right here, down. Yeah, so I don't know if it's visible, but you can see it's down there. Yeah, but remember, both LG and Samsung wireless. Yeah, the connectivity, it's wireless. Here on Sony, it's wired. You have wires running all the way from these rear speakers, from the bar, entering through the subwoofer where we have the main board. This is the main board. The motherboard is actually right here on the subwoofer. We have this connectivity. So these connections, or these wire indicators, you can see they're both of different colors. They're both of different colors, yeah. And you see this speaker connection, so they're both of different colors. And for front, we have the red and white, and then for center we have the green. For surround we have the blue and the gray one. So it's actually even easier to connect. It's not that easy. This is where they have the ports. They both have the HDMI port, and then we have the optical port and the audio in port. That's same to what we have for the LG soundbar. It also has Bluetooth connectivity. We have HDMI ARC connectivity. It also has optical port connectivity. Just have the same as what we have here, and they both have USB port connectivity. So you can connect all of them with USB. Everything else, that's a tie. But now the main difference comes in Sony. It's wired. All the speakers are wired, but all those ones, they're wireless. Another interesting factor is, remember, there's a difference here that maybe we might not notice. For Sony, the motherboard is inside the bar. Yeah? This is where we have the motherboard. That's why we have the USB port right over here. We have the control configurations right on top of the bar, the power button, see? And this is where we have the LED indicator for the Sony soundbar. It's not on the bar, but on the subwoofer, as opposed to what we have on these other bars. Here we have the control unit on the bar, and even on the Samsung we have it on the bar, because the motherboards are on the bar and not on the subwoofers. Subwoofers only have power supplies to power the subwoofers. And again, Samsung is quite different, because here the power is directly to the soundbar, where we have the power supply inside the bar, and even in the Sony we have the power supply inside the subwoofer. So we use AC direct to the systems. But for the Samsung, we have a small adapter right over here. This adapter is crucial because this is the power supply unit to this bar. It's 24 volts DC. So even if you have power surges or power issues in your house, then the power circuit gets affected. Only this will be affected with power. So you'll just find it easy to replace this, because this is quite cheap to repair, and even to replace any Tom, Dick and Harry can easily replace or repair. Replace, not repair, but replace this, because it's easily accessible and manageable. So the power functionalities from conversion from AC to DC done on this small adapter right over there before it gets to the bar. So the bar is very, very well protected in terms of power consumption, and even power in case of any issues with electricity or power damages, as opposed to what we have on these other two soundbars. Because these ones, if you have power supply issues, you'll have to repair the whole bar, and maybe finding a good technician to do that for you might be so difficult. That's why I really love that. That's point number one. So let's put them to test. Maybe I don't know if the difference will be quite clear, but let's put them to test because they both have, all of them have Dolby Digital surround. They are good with music, they're good with movies, they're good for podcast listening, so they just perform good. But let's just have a listen and maybe you tell me which one you will prefer among the three of them. So let's start with Sony as usual. So volume, okay. What do you think about Sony? What do you think about Sony, guys? Because I think I love that. Now, let's move on to LG. Let's find out how it sounds. So let's move to LG. Yeah. Let me just start it over. Guys, I'm speechless about that. That is LG. Now let's test my favorite, the smallest, the tiniest. Let's find out how it sounds. Samsung. Okay, yeah, let's test Samsung. You see. So guys, you've listened to how they're sounding. Samsung, LG, Sony. Yeah, I forgot to show you something. The Sony remote. This is how Sony remote looks like. Quite simple, but at least it has so many functionalities. You have functionality to control the subwoofer right from the remote. You can control the sound modes. You have the cinema modes. Just a click on the remote. It's quite simple. So that is applied on Sony. For LG, the remote, this is how it looks like. The remote is quite compact, but the functionalities are not so many. You only have settings, Bluetooth, mute, source, not so much. You'll have to do the other functionalities, maybe using the LG ThinkQ application, which is also good because from the application you can be able to control the subwoofer level, the surround levels. So much can be done with that application as compared to what you can do with this Sony remote. So the remote is bad, but at least the application will do. For Samsung, I showed you the remote and how it is, and that is the end of this review. Let me know in the comment section what you think about these 3 soundbars. Will you go for the small Samsung? And remember the price tag. There's a very big price tag here. LG being 600 watts, and this being LG from last year, 2024. S65TR LG model. It's just from last year. It's quite expensive. It's going for roughly 490 USD. 490 USD, so it's quite expensive compared to Sony soundbar here, that is 260 USD, and then the Samsung soundbar, which is quite expensive too, around 430 USD. So you have to maybe either compromise on the price tag, or if you're a fan of Samsung, you go with Samsung because definitely there's quality there. Imagine having a soundbar of 600 watts, because we've compared it to soundbars that are 600 watts here, and this one is only 430 watts, but it still matches the sound quality coming from these ones, and even the deepness of the bass coming from this Samsung soundbar is quite top. Yeah. Nonetheless, to be honest, I still feel LG is better, and then followed closely by Sony and Samsung. I don't know which one to decide on that, because that is 600, this is 430. You have your choice here with pick. Both of them are good. If you are thinking of getting either of them, I think they're a good choice. Don't hesitate getting either one of them. See you next time. If you really enjoyed this review and if you really loved this review, don't forget to leave a like on this particular video, and don't forget to subscribe to the account so that you don't miss out on other interesting and genuine reviews like the one we've just had right now. Stay tuned. Peace out.